Hi everybody, and welcome to my new video. And for those of you who don't know me, my name is Suzanne. I'm an English teacher from Ireland and based in Segovia in Spain, and I help students pass the Escuela Oficial de Idiomas exam for B2 and C1 level. So today, a short video, but very, very useful. I think it's one of my students' favorite videos that I have done recently. And it's my top 5 tips to pass the monologue part of the Escuela Oficial de Idiomas exam. So the Monólogo part of the Escuela Oficial de Idiomas exam, I have helped many, many students with this part of the exam, and I've put together my top 5 tips. So if you watch anything, watch the next few minutes to listen to my top 5 tips. So let's cut to the chase. I'm going to share a presentation. Let's cut to the chase. Vamos al grano. So, my top 5 tips for your monologue in the Escuela Oficial de Idiomas exam for B2 or C1 level. So the first tip, thinking of ideas. Many of my students tell me that they go blank, que se quedan en blanco. Okay, depending on what they ask you, you might have to be more specific or more general. So if you're stuck, if you go blank and you can't think of any idea, one tip that I tell my students is you can link many topics, not all, but many topics to at least one, por lo menos uno of the following. So you could link a topic to mental health, you can link it to the pandemic, or you can often link topics to the economy, regardless of the topic. So I'm going to show you an example. Remember, I would say it works 90% of the time that you can link at least one of these to any topic. Okay, so let's have a look at some examples. Remember, let's try and link something to mental health, to the pandemic, and to the economy. So let's do a test. Imagine you have to speak about working from home. Okay, can we link mental health to working from home? Yes. What can we say? We can say working from home is detrimental or very bad. Instead of saying bad or very bad, you could say detrimental or harmful for our mental health. Okay, some people believe working from home is detrimental or harmful for our mental health because we never switch off. Nunca desconectamos. We never switch off. We are always online. Can you link the pandemic to working from home? Absolutely. Everybody did it during the pandemic. The number of people working from home rocketed. Pronunciation, you pronounce ED as an extra syllable because the word ends in T. Rocketed, rocket is cohete, and to rocket is to increase very quickly and dramatically. So the number of people working from home rocketed during the pandemic. So yes, we can link working from home to the pandemic. Can we link the economy to the pandemic? Or sorry, working from home? Yes, why not? We can say, and when I say the economy, I mean money. If we think about money and how it affects the economy. So companies save money when their employees work from home. So if you had this topic and you have to think of things to say, try it. Try, can I link it to mental health? Can I link it to the pandemic? Can I link it to the economy? Okay, but let's do another test. That's just one test. Let's do another test. What if we had to talk about technology, for example, video games, mobile phones, etc.? Can we link this to mental health? Absolutely. Mobile phones are detrimental or harmful for our mental health. So yes, we can link this to mental health. Can we link it to the pandemic? Yes, we can. The number of people addicted to technology or addicted to video games or addicted to their phone rocketed during the pandemic. And can we link technology to economy? Sure. Again, we're bringing it back to money. Big tech firms or technological firms depend on our addiction to technology to make money. So the ideas are coming from linking mental health, the pandemic, and the economy. So that's tip number 1. If you cannot think of anything to say, and if it's quite a general question, try and link to mental health, the pandemic, or the economy. Tip number 2, very simple tip. Basically, the idea is to think of who you can speak about when you speak about a certain topic. Thinking of who you can speak about will also help you think of ideas. So, for example, if you have to talk about health, the first thing you can do, and you can do this before the exam as well, it's good practice to start thinking of these things before the exam. If we're talking about health, we could talk about children, the Department of Health and Government, doctors, healthcare workers, the Minister for Health, nurses, old people, patients, scientists, for example, that develop vaccinations, a surgeon, pronunciation surgeon, cirujano, and the World Health Organization, or WHO, the World Health Organization. Okay, so this is another tip to help you come up with ideas. If you were talking about consumerism, who can we talk about when we talk about consumerism? We can talk about consumers, corporate companies, environmentalists, first world countries, multinationals, shoppers, society, pronunciation society, the food sector or the textile sector, the majority of consumers, the majority of shoppers, the minority, and third world countries. So already thinking of the who, you will start thinking of things to say because you have an idea of who to talk about. Okay, tip number 3, te quedas en blanco. It's very, very common, and I do have another video with 8 sentences to help you on this. Have a look, 8 sentences to use when you go blank. For now, I'm going to give you 2 or 3. So it is normal to get stressed and forget what you want to say in a speaking exam. If you do, why don't we become positive and turn it around and use it as an opportunity to impress the examiners? So, si te quedas en blanco, you can say, sorry, I've gone blank. I've lost my train of thought, thought, pensamientos. I've lost what I was going to say. I can't remember. It's on the tip of my tongue if you can't remember one of these amazing words that you learned. It's on the tip of my tongue. It's on the tip of my tongue. And then you move on. If you can't remember the words, you can't remember the words. You say, it's on the tip of my tongue, and you keep going. Or, sorry, I am digressing. So if you start talking about something and you end up talking about something totally different and you know you're not answering the question, you can stop yourself. You don't have to keep talking about something you're not supposed to be talking about and say, sorry, I am digressing. Digressing? I'm going the other way. I'm not talking about what I'm supposed to be talking about. Okay, so that was tip number 3. Tip number 4, my favorite, blame the government. You have to talk about the problems in the world and the solutions in the vast majority of exam questions. So let's blame somebody. Echar la culpa al gobierno. It doesn't matter what political party you support. You're trying to pass an English exam, okay? Not win a political debate. So blame the government for everything, okay? So some ways to blame the government. The government is turning a blind eye to this problem. To turn a blind eye to is ignorar. To this problem, climate change, the pandemic, education, drugs, homelessness, da igual. You have a frase comodín here to blame the government, to say they are ignoring the problem. The government is turning a blind eye to this problem. Or they need to do something. The government needs to take urgent measures. So to take measures is a collocation, tomar medidas. To take urgent measures, you add an extra adjective. To tackle this issue, to solve this problem o afrontarse con este tema o problema. En vez de decir to solve this problem, to tackle this issue. What issue? Climate change, the pandemic, vaccinations, education, public transport, whatever. Or the government simply, the government needs to introduce legislation. Introduce legislation. Una solución comodín. I always talk about frases comodines y soluciones comodines that you can apply to every problem, okay? No nos complicamos la vida, okay? Let's try and pass the exam. So, blame the government, tip number 4. Tip number 5, nothing left to say. Okay, happens with my students when we are doing sample monologues together. Do not say, that's all. So you finish and you look at the examiner and you smile and you say, that's all. And definitely do not say, y está. Some of my students say this in Spanish to me, y está. Okay, so instead of saying, that's all, y haciendo así, no tengo más que decir, y está, you can apply tips 1 to 4 if you haven't used them. So in the end, if you've nothing left to say and you haven't already done so, you can blame the government, or you think of another opinion related to mental health, the economy, the pandemic. You can repeat your opinion, okay? You can say, this brings me to the end of my monologue. So you use a few seconds here. This brings me to the end of my monologue. You can summarize, to sum up, or in a nutshell, which is a strange one. Nutshell is cáscara de nueces, but in English, in a nutshell means en resumen. Repeat your opinion using different language. So if you said, in my opinion, then you can say, I strongly believe. Talk about the future is a really nice tip to end a monologue. Who knows what the future holds? ¿Quién sabe lo que nos espera el futuro? About the pandemic. Are we going to have another pandemic? About education, about the climate change, about the planet, okay? Who knows what the future holds? Or do a balance. The advantages outweigh the disadvantages if you are comparing advantages and disadvantages. Las ventajas superan, outweigh, not outweigh or weak or which, outweigh, like way, camino, way, the advantages outweigh the disadvantages. So they are my 5 tips. I think they're really, really useful. Let me know in the comments what you think, and if you have any other tips. Don't forget to subscribe, because I will be doing weekly new videos specifically for the Escuela Oficial de Idiomas exam. I do have a Facebook group. You can check it out in the link. You can subscribe to YouTube, and I do send a weekly email with tips. So you get writing tips or reading tips, and you can get vocabulary, and you get a PDF, and you can print them out. Just go onto my website if you want to get access to the weekly emails. So I hope you enjoyed that. Have a good day.